Hi everybody, Laura K483 here, and welcome to my second game review video for a point-and-click puzzle adventure game called Adam Wolfe. So for those of you who don't know, I am a variety streamer on Twitch under the same username, Laura K483, and I am one of the partners with Paladin Gaming, which is a website where you can buy 100% legitimate game keys for gaming on PC or platforms like Steam, Origin, all that jazz. And it is run by one person, and I just have partners like myself who get the word out there and tell people about it, tell you what kind of games are there, stuff like that. And more, as we get more partners, more affiliates, people hear a bit more about Paladin Games, they're sending some requests for some of the affiliates to do reviews. So that is why I'm here today. Yeah, if you want to look at the Paladin Gaming website, get yourself some games at some great discount prices, there's a link in the description below, as well as a link to my stream and everything. I was asked to review this game, Adam Wolfe, and I knew nothing about it. I had not heard of it before, so I just did a few, 5 minutes of research on Wikipedia, the internet, just to get a brief, what am I getting myself into, kind of thing. And I saw it's a puzzle game, very narrative-based. I was like, okay, so far, so good. My favorite games are story-driven games. I was a little wary because it was a point-and-click style game, and we all know how much I disliked the last point-and-click game I played, but thankfully I had a much better experience with this one. This one from the get-go was already a lot more intuitive, a lot more easier, and they give you the story right off the bat. The beginning of the game, it's introduce the character, introduce the world, introduce the premise, and you know exactly why you're there, what's going on, which I like. The other game was a lot more throws you into this world and you have to kind of figure it out for yourself. I was like, you know what? I don't have time for that. I'm here to play a game. I'm not necessarily that smart. Just tell me what's going on. So I appreciated that, and the way the tutorial was set up was really well done. It didn't feel like I had to play some extra bits to learn how to play the game. We jumped right into the story, and the tutorial didn't take away from the story. And the control scheme came very naturally. It wasn't like the other one where it was literally felt like you were on your own, which I get was the point of it. But this one, I liked being guided through the first little bit, how to play. Really enjoyed that. And then the game starts where you're focusing on this one case before you can get back to your sister. So I'm going to break down my review kind of into story, graphics, gameplay, music, and my overall score for the game. And everything is out of 10. So start with the story, because the game opens by saying, Adam Wolfe is an intense narrative experience, best with sound. So for the story of the game, I would give it an 8 out of 10. It started out, seemed a little fast, a little rushed, and was kind of okay. It had some cheesy moments, but the longer the chapter went on, the more interesting it got. It had some really, really great plot twists. I won't show you necessarily my reaction from the big plot twist. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but here's just a moment from some little ones like that where even I was like, oh, that's surprising. I really appreciate that. I love a good plot twist as much as the next person. And then by the end, the story started out fairly streamlined and just got really elaborate and a lot more interesting, which I thought was really cool. And then at the end, it also ends up tying back to some of the overarching plots of the game, which I didn't see coming and found really interesting. So I really got into the story, and when the game finished, I wanted to play the next episode. I want to continue the story, so that's always a good sign. So for the story, 8 out of 10. The graphics for the game, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. It is a very, pretty game to look at times. Some of the environments, some of the images they show you are quite pretty. A lot of the more action-heavy parts of the game, the graphics fall down a little bit. But it's a stylistic choice. You can tell it's an intentional, this is the graphics look we've gone with. It's not you tried to do something and you're not succeeding at it. It kind of had an interactive comic book feel, the way the graphics work with a lot of the paneled artwork and the way it looks very much like a painting as opposed to a lot of the games today. And it felt like playing an interactive comic book with a bit of a Telltale Games feel. Some of you guys know I've played a lot of Telltale games, really enjoy them, and I got a very similar vibe to this in many instances like that. So they're not obviously the best graphics I've ever seen. They're not going to compete with some games like Uncharted 4 or Overwatch or things like that, or Child of Light, one of my favorite graphic games ever. But they're still nothing to sneeze at, and they were still very fitting with the style of the game. So 6.5 out of 10. For the actual gameplay and the controls and everything, I will give it also an 8 out of 10. like I said, I'm not normally a fan of point and clicks. I like it to be a lot more like first person, like to be controlling more of everything that's going on, their movement, where their eyes are looking, stuff like that. But unlike the last game where I was like, I feel like I'm just clicking on random things, this game was designed very intuitively without making you feel stupid or without dumbing it down too much. Like, I kind of knew where I was going, and I did get stuck sometimes on some puzzles, on some game. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But after, give me like 5-10 minutes of trying to figure it out, I could always figure it out and move on. So there was just enough of like a work hard to figure it out, but reward and the payoff in the end when you did it. And a lot of this game is puzzle based. Like, there was about 12 different puzzle types I tried while playing this game. There were a few that were recurring puzzles because they were like mechanics of the game, which was really cool. But then there was also like new puzzles always being introduced. And I really like puzzle games. Like, I've loved games like Zelda and Star Fox and stuff in the past, like Star Fox Adventures particularly, which had lots of puzzles. Spyro, Super Mario Sunshine, stuff like that. So I really liked all the variation of puzzles. They were all, like, some of them were super easy, you could get them instantly. Some of them you had to work a little bit harder for, which I appreciated. There was one puzzle got me, and the game does have a skip option, where it's like, is this puzzle too hard? We'll do it for you. Which at first I was like, oh come on, that's a cop-out. But this one puzzle I then appreciated, and I don't know whether I'm like, I feel shame that I had to use the skip button once, or whether I'm like, I only used it once, that's not bad at all. But either way, these were really good kinds of puzzles, and they felt also natural to the story. They didn't seem like puzzles that were there for the sake of being an obstacle kind of thing. So for gameplay and puzzles, I will give it an 8 out of 10. The music and soundtrack to the game, I expected a lot, because like I said, the game opens with a little picture saying this is an intense narrative experience best with sound. So I'm like, oh, do I need to have the sound on? I wonder if there's some really cool like music or some really interesting soundtracks. Maybe there's some jump scares that the music needs to be involved in because it's a supernatural mystery kind of game. But it wasn't bad music. It didn't take away from the game at all, but it didn't add anything to it. Like, it was there. It could have been generic background for any sort of mysterious, puzzly, dark, supernatural-esque game. Like, it didn't stand out to me kind of thing. I love when games have epic music. Like, in the music in Child of Light was incredible. I love the music from Legend of Zelda series. So I would have liked it to be a little more unique, considering it had a really cool narrative in the game. But it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So I'll give the music a 5 out of 10. Now, for my overall score for this game, we've had some standouts with like the story and the gameplay, some other elements, the graphics and the music were like, okay, nothing to write home about. Overall, I will still give this game a 7.5 out of 10. I still had lots of fun playing it. I still intend to play the rest of the episodes now because I want to know what happens. And that, I think, is the biggest strength of this game, is I want to know how the story ends. I want Adam to find his sister. I want to know where she's been. I want to know what's going on. So I still really enjoyed it. It's not necessarily a game I will probably replay in the future. It's not necessarily a game I'm going to go to a million people and be like, you need to play this, it's so good. But anyone who likes puzzles or is looking for narrative, Telltale-esque, like, story adventure game, I'll be like, oh yeah, give this a try, it's really fun. Also, the episodic nature of the game is great, because you can play it in very reasonable timing amounts. Like I said, it took me about 2.5 hours to play episode 1, and you can break them down like that, so it's not like you'll start it and then 6 hours later be like, oh no, where'd my day go? As we know, we can descend into that video game void very easily. But yeah, so overall, I really enjoyed this game, and I am looking forward to playing the rest of the episodes and finding out what the heck happened to Adam's sister. Thanks for watching this game review, guys. I was playing this game on Steam. That is where you can get it. And remember, if you like to play games on PC and you are looking for a place to save a few bucks, save some money, maybe support an aspiring streamer like myself and the incredible Mark, who runs and owns Paladin Games website, then make sure to check out the link below. Check out some of the games. There's games like Battlefield 1, Civilization 6, Rise of the Tomb Raider. I've bought Alien Isolation on Paladin in the past. Tons of great stuff there. And maybe save you some money. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!